breaking generational curses one episode at a time. You are now up and stuck with the Perpetual Motion Podcast. The only motion is perpetual motion. Perpetual motion.
Welcome to the Perpetual Motion Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and today I'm excited for the guest that we have in the studio with us, someone I've known virtually my whole life, who's always been a creative inspiration. I actually have some of my most fondest memories, both as a child and like growing into teenagers and adults with this individual. As long as I can remember, he's always been what I would identify as an artist. I call him Bobby. You may know him as Bobby Versus. I want to give him our platform today to talk a little bit about our joint story as family members, our future, together as creatives, and, everything else in between. But welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on here. I'm kind of excited to do this finally.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
I always knew that something like this was getting ready to happen between us,
Yeah.
So I'm happy to finally be getting to it now.
Man, I think, speaking of knowing, right, like when you are around someone in your youth, you grow up together. Like now, in our family, we spent time together, especially as we were growing up. When did you kind of start to notice that you were an artist and have like that feeling? Do you remember that?
I don't ever feel like I wasn't an artist. Ever since crayons, I knew I was good at it. I remember, you know how when you're a kid and you draw a picture and then you like, mommy, look at this. It's a, you know what I'm saying? I remember drawing a Ninja Turtle with crayons. You know what I'm saying? This was probably like, it might have even been before kindergarten. And I'm like, look, it's a Ninja Turtle. And you know how they kind of like look at it and then kind of a little bit blow it off just because they doing something, cooking or something. And they'll say, oh, yeah, it is a. She had a double take and said, yeah, it is a Ninja Turtle.
She wasn't expecting
she wasn't expecting it to actually look like what I said it was. And I knew from then, not to mention that, like I said, I've had so many influences since then in the art that I just knew. I always knew that this is something that I'm good at. You know what I mean? Even though you're always a student of something, but I've always known that I'm better than most people that I know at doing it. You know what I mean? There's never been a time where I didn't know that I was an artist, or that, just put it like that I could draw at least.
Right. Wow. So it was something that you recognized very early. You said something to me that stuck with me once, and it was about a frame signaling value. And you said the art already has the worth, but the frame changes how people perceive it. Like, unpack that for me, because I thought your perspective when we talked about that kind of like off air before the pod was and I wanted to really bring that to the forefront of our conversation.
Well, like the frame is just something that's after the fact. Like, the art is obviously the focal point.
Yeah.
The masterpiece is obviously the focal point, but the frame, for people who's not necessarily looking for or looking at the art, the frame is what slows that person down and actually gets them to pay attention to the art within the frame. Like you said, that the art was already art before you put the frame around it.
Absolutely.
It was already as valuable as it is. The artist already knew that this is a complete art. Once they put the frame around the art to entice you to slow down to look at it, entice the person who normally wouldn't pay so much attention to all this detail. It's aesthetically pleasing to that person to slow them down and be like, oh, okay, I like how these colors go with that frame. I like how that frame complements these colors in this piece. Now it makes you look at the you know what I'm saying, it makes you look more at the art than if you was just, you know, just to have it like outside of a frame. Even though now more art is presented without frames, but I think a frame just kind of puts that more. It kind of makes it to a person who wouldn't necessarily be paying attention to it. It brings it more to their attention than anything.
I think that's a excellent way to think about humans as well, because we all have value, and what it takes often is for other people to come and help us shape and frame that value for other people to be able to recognize it more readily. And I think that that's so interesting because I think about growing up together, I've always seen my role as being able to help the people around me achieve whatever their goals and like purpose was. And so we've known for, again, as you said, forever that you are an artist. So just tell me about the journey as an artist for you, what that has, you know, looked like, some of the, you know, places it's taking you, some of the experiences you have, because I know you actually happen to have a ton of wisdom to share from your experiences. So what are some of the things that stick out to you from your journey as an artist and being the art as the individual?
Well, growing up, I was kind of an angry kid. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to express myself too much verbally. The one thing that I did, everybody played sports, everybody played, you know what I mean? Everybody did all their stuff. But to me, this was the one thing I had to myself. You know what I mean? This was the one thing that I could stand out in that didn't nobody have on me. You know what I mean? And in doing that, you know, my brothers follow behind too.
Right.
You can draw? Well, let me see if I can draw. You know what I'm saying? Like growing up, I really art was always my outlet. As a kid, like I would excel in it and not even realize that I'm excelling in it because it's just something that I do. You know, I remember I don't remember what grade it was, but my art teacher made us all paint. It was the first time I actually painted on a canvas. And I thought, I mean, you know, we painted it in class. We probably took 2-3 weeks to paint it, you know what I mean? And I just didn't get mine back. Everybody else got theirs back at the end, and I just didn't get mine back. And I was kind of mad because, you know, I wanted mine back too. But I didn't, you know, wasn't thinking too far into it or nothing. Long story short, little did I know, the teacher had put it in the art fair. And one day we're in what they called a community meeting where all the classes go in the gym and whatever. And they announced that one of the students' art projects was put in a art festival or whatever, and basically ended up winning the competition. And at the time, I'm still not even knowing that it's, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even knowing that it's mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then they pulled the little sheet off of it. I'm like, that's mine. I'm still almost mad. That,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
They still got my paint.
Yeah.
They still got my...
Why you got my stuff?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? so, yeah, it was just always been a thing to where I was always better than even I thought. But it's never not been a part of who I am or what I was doing. You know what I mean? There was a lot of influence. Like we got up and watched Saturday morning cartoons, Sunday morning cartoons, and you know what I'm saying? I always had favorite cartoons. I always had, you know what I mean? I still watch cartoons, you know, regularly. But, you know what I mean, I say it was at church, you know what I mean, it was a lot of different people at church that one of the guys, and I could say this was one of my favorite influences when it comes to art, the guy named Michael Mitchum. And he could draw anything. And what amazed me about him is, like, he's drawing in the bulletin. It's words all through this
behind it, right?
It's words all through this drawing, but he's still like, drawing like comic book-esque pictures. I remember him drawing. It was a crazy thing to be drawing in church, but it looked like a dude was coming up out of the ground, and you could see like the dirt and mud coming off, but it's just a head in the middle of this paragraph of words.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, how did you do that? Just like with a pen and this bulletin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, it's like I've never been a hater on nobody's nothing that they do. But I've always saw a level and wondered, that level is attainable? Like, people can do that?
Yeah.
And now I got to go try to do that. Yeah. Now, and not to mention, I am doing it. I've never not been able to. And that's one of the things where I could say that when you put your mind to something, you can really do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know I could be that good at it. You know, it's times now, even still, that, like I said earlier the other day, it's
shock
like,
yourself.
It's not even just shocking myself. It's almost discouraging myself.
Like, I'm never going to be able to do.
Like, how did I just do that?
Yeah.
How did I just do that? I'm backing up, looking at it before I'm finished, and I'm like, how am I gonna be able to do that again?
Yeah, let's you mentioned something that I want to go back and talk a little bit about. And that's the environment that we grew up around, right? And you also talked about church. And I think I've noticed that there is an underlying thread of family, you know, church and faith finding its way into art. But also, like, talk a little bit about, because, like, we had a lot of artists around us as well. Even I'm thinking about, like, family gatherings at Papa's house. Like, there were a lot of things, and in our living room on holidays, we were basically seeing, like, the future versions of the Made Man Improv show. And we were seeing, like, but there was a lot of that around. There was people in the basement playing instruments and doing different, like, so that was like, so do you feel like, talk more about, like, the influence of, like, what was around, and, like, do you think a lot of people would be shocked at how much of an influence our church upbringing would be into your artistry? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know about shocked. I think that it was all conducive to for us to become who we really wanted to be. There, even though I did feel sheltered growing up to a degree,
Yeah.
it was conducive to what we wanted to be later on in life. It like you said, there was music instruments in the basement at Pop Out House.
And we
You know what I mean? We wasn't thinking nothing of it, but we got to play around on it. We got to mess with it, you know what I'm saying? And there wasn't no don't touch his guitar or you know what I'm saying, things like that. It was really more of we was encouraged to, you know what I'm saying, y'all go down there and play.
Right, exactly. And that's what we found ourselves to do, I think, is what is so interesting, because a lot of the times that was coming together and putting on a production for the family, which I know is not an uncommon Black experience, but I also felt like as a kid, a part of that experience, I was very aware that I'm like, this is another level.
Yeah, it wasn't common that we was coming up here making a whole play.
Right.
Off the top of our head.
Yeah, no, that was a thing. Like we would come together, get together, and then at the end have a complete productions where everybody having a part and roles and like designing costumes. And when I think about that, I'm like, you think that these things come out of nowhere, but they're really, the seeds are already there. It's just, and so I couldn't help but to be influenced by that. You know what I mean?
Same. Like a lot of the things that I had to realize what my influence were, because I was influenced by so many things growing up. You know what I'm saying? I remember my mother drawing some stuff, and I asked her. I remember saying, "You remember when you drew so and so?" My mama say, "I can't draw." I'm like, what? No, I vividly remember you drawing all the characters on Little Mermaid on different pieces of paper, not tracing, not, you know what I'm saying? I remember. Oh yeah, I do remember that. And she just played it off like it's just like, oh, that was nothing.
Right.
But that was one of the things that dang, you can view that good.
Yeah.
Let me go draw something tight then. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, man, it's so many things that I really couldn't even say them all. Right. But I had to realize that I was influenced by all of this stuff later on in life.
Now I got another question. It's about expression, because what I hear is like, again, you've always been expressing yourself. You always take note of how other people around you were expressing yourself. How has how you expressed yourself changed, and therefore your art changed over time and into the present now?
That's a good one, because, you know, first it was just, you know, me kind of having something of my own and just knowing that I'm going to get, as a kid, knowing that I mean, okay, y'all get trophies for playing football, y'all get this and that, but this is how I'm going to get my praise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Until it actually was, you know, growing up, it was an outlet. It was me channeling actually emotions and putting them on the page, because I'm not being heard nowhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was actually there was a time when when it was just drawing, and I'm just drawing for the praise of others.
Yeah.
But then then it became a time where I don't care if you see this ever.
Yeah, I'm doing this for me.
Yeah, this really has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? And if nobody ever sees it or nobody ever appreciates it, you know what I'm saying, I needed this.
You said something though there.
You know what I mean?
The evolution, going from doing something for the praise and adoration of other people to I'm doing this for me because
I
of
need
how, because I need to. We have some things, you know, in common. And I know this is the pod, and we can go a lot of different directions. And we've kind of touched on this as well. Like, and this is probably gonna feel like a crazy shift, but like, talk about some of the things that we've experienced spiritually together. Because I feel like if you were to share with somebody the type of stuff, and I don't know, I don't want to like completely change, but I think that there's no way that, and there are encounters you have in life and things that stick with you, and there are things that, you know, you have. So I feel like,
Where do I start with that?
yeah, because, well, one, you were in art school,
Yeah.
you were at the Art Institute,
Yeah.
you had a roommate.
Yeah.
There were some things about that roommate that were, you know, I'll let you share. But like, talk about that experience. Talk about like what faith means to you as an artist. How ultimately, I feel like you can have no choice but to express somewhat faith. Like, but there's a lot in there. But I want to just give you the.
That time was so messy for me, because here I am at art school thinking that I'm on the path to doing what I want to do with my life, while running into everything else.
Yeah.
I wasn't a drinker. I wasn't a druggie, but college put me on to all of it. Popping pills, drinking beers, getting drunk on hard liquor. It was a party pretty much every day.
Because that wasn't a part of our upbringing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's not how we was raised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, art school for me was really kind of more of a reality check in life. I didn't learn as much as I should have in there. I learned more about things that I shouldn't be into, but that I am into. You know, it was I was at a bad part of my life then, but in that, I was exposed to a lot of the things that our family had been trying to teach us from the jump. I never, of course, I knew that, you know, the enemy exists. And, you know, of course, I had an idea of the negative and positive, the good and evil, but in college, I realized it was real. I understood, and I was introduced to the fact that the spiritual world is not just something that we talk about. It's not just vibes. It's not just. It's real.
Real.
Like I said, I don't know where to start with that because it was just crazy. But yeah, dude was a devil worshiper, to say the least.
Yep.
And I didn't know that how much that would affect anything that I had going on.
Right.
But you know, like it came to a point where, long story short, where my brother told me, "This as much house as yours as it is theirs. This house is just as much yours as it is theirs." You know what I'm saying? I know you know what I mean, but don't be afraid to pray this place down like you know how. And of course, I didn't, you know, I was still me, still in all my dirt. But, you know, I took it for what it was. You know what I mean? My brother's telling me, and I actually, he was putting me on, you know what I mean, when he was telling me. So I did. And when I got to dude's room and his, like, where he sleep at, is when that entity made itself known to me. I could feel him. I couldn't see him.
Mm-hmm.
If you came in the room, if you had walked in the house while it was going on, while I was doing what I was doing, you probably thought I was crazy, because it felt as if I was getting ready to fight. It felt like he was testing me. You know what I'm saying? I could feel the breath on me, like he like mugging me, you know what I mean, looking, you know what I mean, down on me. And it took a whole lot. It took me allowing God to do it through me for this thing to leave. And like, I would have never even thought that God would even allow me to be the conduit to be able to rid this place of this entity.
Yeah.
But man, as much as adrenaline was going, and when at first I'm just trying to go around here praying the same way that they told me, you know what I'm saying, all my life. Everything that I've ever heard, like, you know, I'm sitting up here trying to, I'm sounding stupid to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Any negative spirit has to leave in the name of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? But I had to, like, now looking back, I realized that would be like me saying, yeah, if your name ain't Mark, or your last name ain't Bland, or then you gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I ain't saying it to you. I might be talking to you,
Right.
but I'm not directing it at you. I'm not saying. It got to a point where I had to be like, no, you got to get up out of here.
Yeah. You took some authority.
Yeah, and then when I finally realized that I had to come into the authority, that's when it took over. It wasn't me no more. It wasn't me no more. It was it was a warrior that I hadn't been ever before.
Exactly. That's exactly the experience, because I don't remember. What I remember is you was just sharing what you did about this roommate, and I remember that after a family gathering,
We had went over there,
and another relative of ours had went over there, and I don't think that
he couldn't even stand it. He had to go to sleep because I'm like, y'all want to hear a ghost story?
Yeah.
And he couldn't even stand it. He was like, he went in there and laid down because he actually got scared of what was going on. But it was so crazy when I told y'all that, because at the end of it, when I was telling this demon that you gotta go, like I said, it wasn't me. I keep saying I was.
Right.
But it wasn't me controlling none of this at this point. But I felt like a smack from like the top of my head to the sole of my feet. And I'm talking about, it felt, you know what I mean, it was strong. It was strong. But the smack was peace. Like, it was peace. Like, I was all hyped up and everything. And I feel this smack. Boom, I don't feel nothing. I'm just peaceful now. And when I told y'all that part, lights went off. In the whole part, remember the whole building, lights went off in the whole building. And that's when he started getting scared. I'm like, I'm still gonna tell the story. Because all this is the enemy trying to get me to stop telling you what I know.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was one of the most, like, when them lights went off. After, I'm not gonna say I wasn't, but I also can. What I realize is that the things that you remember experiencing, I remember experiencing, because what I take away from that experience is the peace that I did feel in the midst of what was initially chaotic chaos, and this where I went from feeling fear to peace and authority afterwards, knowing that, like, had I ever encountered something like this again, I wouldn't feel the way I felt at the beginning of it. Definitely a transformative experience.
Absolutely. And I know that affected. I don't know if that affected me as far as my artistry goes. But I know that those situations and those types of situations made me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do express myself, that has a lot to do with my upbringing, the things that I have been through, the things that I have dealt with, you know what I'm saying, as far as, the spiritual and the physical, you know what I'm saying? So I know all of it plays a part and all of it makes me into who I am. But even that in itself to me is a form of art. It is a form of expressing yourself. It is a form of being, a form of being. You know what I'm saying? And I think ultimately that's where my art comes from, is just being.
Wow. I want to give us an opportunity, because I know we're going to have more opportunities to talk, and I want to definitely get a series going. But I want to give you an opportunity, because we kind of mentioned it before, but and you, Co-Hab Collab Studios, are going to be putting together a platform for your art. Now, this is going to be very interesting, very unique. I'm very excited about this, because we're talking about art as you would traditionally know it, but we're talking about music. We're talking about spoken word, poetry, maybe even some bars. You know what I'm saying, in there. We're talking about a lot of different mix. But tell me about all the different what all the different things that make up you, Bobby Versus, as an artist, and then talk a little bit about what people can expect when they in the future join your Patreon, have an opportunity to see you create and kind of join in this experience that we're going to be kind of curating together.
Okay. As I feel like I'm an artist all the way around the board. If I can't express myself through on a canvas or on a piece of paper, then I'm gonna do it with some words. If I can't do it with a poem, then I'm gonna do it with a song. If I can't do it with a song, then I'm gonna probably go tag inside of somebody's building. And it's just my. I don't think that there's a single way to express yourself. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that everybody, in a sense, is the same. And I'm an artist all the way around the board. Even my name, Bobby Versus, it's not necessary. That's why it's VERSES. Because our life is a testament. It's these verses. It's almost me saying the book of Bobby.
Okay, he can't read it either.
But it's almost like it's almost me like saying, the book of Bobby Versus. You know what I'm saying? And what to expect from me is, you know, I mean, I just want to do more. I just want to do put it out there to for to kind of influence people to do the same. Like, you know what I mean? I think one of my passions is you know, letting other people see that there is no wrong way to express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that you can do it. And like I said, when words can't do it, you can paint it. When paint can't do it, you can draw it. When
Right.
you know what I'm saying? When drawing can't do it, so you know what I mean, just pluck around on the guitar and find them vibes, and you know what I'm saying, find another release there. It's all therapeutic to me, and I think that it's necessary for people to have those outlets. And I just want to kind of show that and encourage that, so we can have more people doing the same. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I did want to maybe close with maybe a poem or a spoken word or something, just because I feel like that would be a good bridge to our next, you know, potential episode in the future, but also putting this series together that we are titling "The Frame: The Art of Perspective." So, as we are closing, if you could kind of, I guess I will let the background music play, but if you could maybe give us something to bridge us, we'll let the cameras go and we'll be closed. And we appreciate y'all joining us for this episode of the Perpetual Motion Podcast. My boy Zeke behind the board, Bobby Versus. This has got to be a continued thing. He gonna take us, you know, maybe through the next thing, but I'll see y'all in the next episode.
Am I supposed to go right now? Yeah, no, I was just gonna say. Nah, I mean it's just gonna go. I mean, I got the shortest poem that I ever wrote, and it just goes. There's no title to it. It just goes. They told me look to the sky, so I raised my face. They say that's the limit, but I can see space. And that's it.